it's interesting to see that after all these years, you have left-leaning people finally arriving to the right-wing conclusion. And they're arriving to the right-wing conclusion because it finally affects them. It finally comes into their backyard, and now they believe that they should talk about it. Up until this point, it was a luxury belief. A luxury belief means that you're holding something, you're saying something because you're getting public credit, but it doesn't really affect you. Instead, it affects other people that you don't even know. So it's okay to say it. But in this situation, you have this gentleman, which is a proeminent left-leaning individual on Twitter for years. They have promoted left-wing causes and they have done left-wing activism. And now they're realizing that despite the fact that they're 35 years old and they have a PhD for more than 4 years, and quite frankly, they're a white dude, right? So they're oozing with privilege. Combining these factors together, and he is for all intents and purposes unemployable as a 20th century American historian. Now, again, like, this is so well known among right-wing groups that people don't even bring it up anymore. Like, we just know that this is how the world is. This is what the patch notes say, and we just have to play by the meta. And the solution is don't become a 20th century American historian if you do not fit the criteria. Like, you should become a plumber, a trucker, a farmer. You know, like, you have more chances in those professions than to become a 20th century American historian. But of course, you're not supposed to express this, especially on Twitter. You're supposed to pretend that, no, actually everyone can become a 20th century American historian. And if you do express it, well, you're going to get backlash. Not from the right, but from the left. And the backlash doesn't address the individual in question. Like, they do not address him as a person, because left-leaning ideology in the United States is about collectivism, right? So if you are part of a group, they will address the group. They do not care about if you as an individual are mistreated. They care about the people that share your characteristics, your arbitrary characteristics, and they will apply it to you. And in this situation, it's exactly what happens. You got this lady saying that, so true, nobody like you ever lands this type of job. And the funny thing is that the guy is actually saying, I have been told this point blank by people on the search committees. Like, the search committees are telling him, yes, we are discriminating against you. You're a 35-year-old man. We do not want you. We do not care about the knowledge you have. We do not care about anything like that. Like he has been told that him as a person, they do not like him, not because of what he knows. It's kind of like participating in a music competition, but they tell you that they're interested in an older guy that lives in a different neighborhood, and that's the person that they want to win the competition. You can be the best singer ever, but unless you fit that criteria, you're not going to win. Is it okay if you're going to feel slighted? Is it okay if it's going to feel unfair? Because you're like, but I've worked like 4 years training myself to have the perfect singing voice. I did everything, but I just don't happen to live in that neighborhood that you want the winner to be from. And they're like, well, we don't care. And when you go to complain, you're like, oh, well, surely you're saying that people your age never win competitions. It's like, yes, but we're talking about this specific competition, and we're talking about my specific case. And they just don't want to have the conversation. Because, again, it's like, explain the dearth of 30-something-year-old white men in the field. And he's basically rebutting that in this particular field, like what we are talking about, we're not talking about history as a whole. We're talking 20th century US history. So something incredibly specific with tenure track jobs. Can you give me a name? Right? So, like, I mean, I'm sorry, you have a tenure track job. I do not. Let's be very clear about the relative power dynamics here. So he's like, again, he's trying to bring it back to the individual. He's trying to bring it back to his case. Like, in my position, it is impossible for me, personally, to get a job with my PhD into the field that I want because I'm being racially discriminated. This is what he's talking about. And she is rebutting by saying, no. In the history field, so like all the encompassing field, there are people of your racial specifics. And because of that, there can't be racism in your case. This is the argument that they are making. And this is an intellectual, by the way. Well, technically both of them are intellectuals. But they literally cannot think outside the group mentality. They cannot think that, okay, well, even if there wouldn't be racism in the entire field, which there is, but like assuming there isn't, you can still have like one individual in one case being racially slighted. Like even if the entire country would have been purged of racism by aliens, if one guy goes and he is being told by the committee that they're not going to hire him because of his skin color, that is racism. But she's like, no, you're so right. A Yale postdoc, what a nightmare. Like again, she's not even having the same conversation. She's not even engaging with what he is having to say. And this guy got so much backlash from other left-leaning people that he ends up deleting the tweet. Now, why does he delete the tweet? Because he notices he gets no support. Literally no one cares about his situation. So instead of getting compassion, instead of getting people saying, wow, like really? Like they actually said that they won't hire you because of your skin color? Wow, that's crazy. It's great. Who are these people? Where did it happen? At what university? Like, we should investigate. That's horrible. No, they're like, well, you're crying. Oh, look at him crying. LOL, LOL. So when he got hit with that, like, again, feminism say that men should cry more. Well, he did cry. And the moment he cried, he got public ridicule. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be public ridiculed. I'm just going to delete my tweet, which this lady is bringing back. Right? So he responds, I think that as a tenure track professor at an R1, this is extremely bad look for you to be punching down. Again, like, he is trying to bring it back to his situation. He's basically saying, like, in my case, I have been racially discriminated. I have posted this on the internet. People mocked me. I deleted this. You are doing your best in order to constantly humiliate me, so you're punching down. Because you got all the power. Like, all the people are on your side. All the people are saying that you're right. You are punching down. And she says you can keep telling yourself how much more powerful I am than you because of my job, and literally no other qualifiers, but it doesn't make it true. Well, there are other qualifiers. Like, people are siding with you in the comment section. Leftists, right? I mean, most of these people are plugged in to the leftist ideology, and thus they attract left-leaning individuals on their timeline. So the leftists are siding with the lady over the man. Despite the fact that the man has privilege for being a man. He has privilege for being white. But for some reason, in his situation, it seems that the privilege isn't working. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, this was expected. People have predicted this since, I think, like 2016. And now, yeah, like, it's kind of like being a woman that studies at a Catholic university. You're never going to be a priest. Like, you can be like, no, seriously, like, you can be the best female theologian in human history. Like, you can know all of the Christian philosophy. You can know everything about all the saints and what they did. You can write, like, the best book that the church has ever seen. Like, you can write a book which manages to convert atheists as a woman, right? So you go to Catholic university, you write the best book. Everyone that reads it automatically gets converted. They will not make you a Catholic priest. Why? Because you're a woman. They do not do that. It's moving to that direction. It's not quite there yet, but it's moving to that direction when it comes to this particular field. And in some subsections of the field, it's already there. Of course, it's not about men and women. They have other characteristics, but basically what it means is that you can't change the fact, right? Like, you can't change your race. You can't change. I mean, he can change his gender, I suppose, right? So, like, if he changes his gender, maybe he's got, like, an advantage. Again, it's not what you know in history, because they're not just looking for that. I mean, do it yourself. Make a computer algorithm. And like, how many points do they add for the arbitrary characteristics? And then you can see how much it matters, how much you know. Like, how much history you actually know versus how much it matters what gender you identify with, what race you have, what sexuality you have. You know, the important shit. Which is, of course, very beneficial for the students themselves, because, like, when you're a student, like, that's the main thing you care about, your professor. You don't really care, like, how much history they know. Like, no, you care about other things. America, what can I say? It's kind of funny because there was a Romanian professor that had tenure, and he was disgusted. Came back in Romania, was on a Romanian television show that most people thought that it's being mistranslated, but no, he was actually saying it reminds me of communism. Like, I left Romania, I went into the United States, I studied at the university, and it felt as if I was back in communism. Like they told me that back then it was 2016. And it was like, well, they told me that they wanted a student for this position that is gay. And it's like, well, what if I got like a non-gay person that knows better? No, like you don't understand. We need someone that's gay. I mean, Joe Biden himself said that he wants a black woman on the Supreme Court, right? So like it doesn't really matter the knowledge of the like you can have like the best Asian that knows U.S. law to a T, like it's like ChatGPT on steroids. He knows everything there is to know about the U.S. Constitution. They would not hire because it doesn't fit the criteria. And it's interesting to see left-leaning people finally waking up to it, but they're waking up to it because it affects them, not because it affects others. Because up until now, not only they were silent, but they were also promoting the ideology. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.